What would it be like to spend Christmas with George Washington? And what's cooking today at 9?
And here's a question I never thought I would ask, but Kent, what would Christmas be like with George Washington?
I have no idea.
And what are we going to eat with the Prez? We are finding out.
Okay. Well, imagine it's Christmas morning. You don't have electricity, and the president is on his way over. I would be freaking out, unless that whole electricity thing had not even been invented yet. Okay. On this Way Back Wednesday, we are going way back to George Washington's time to figure out what Christmas might have been like for the first president. Every Christmas with a president needs a good dinner, so we're also cooking with the commander. You'll want to stay tuned for this. Great day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Everyone has certain traditions when it comes to the holidays, but have you ever stopped to think, how did George Washington spend the holidays? We're going to find out right here, right now. We are joined by our favorite celebrity historian, Raffi Andonian. He's also the only celebrity and historian we know. So how did George Washington spend Christmas?
Well, you know the song, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Yes.
Well, George Washington had a white Christmas on December 25th of 1776, but they're not the kind of white Christmas you want.
All right.
It was the ice, snow, you know, freezing rain, but of course the famous painting of him crossing the Delaware River. And in that moment, you know, in a dark time of the American Revolution, when the cause didn't look good, is when they kind of helped turn around the fortunes of the American Revolution. Now, they'd have to do that a couple times again later in the following years, but in that moment, that's kind of something that Washington was known for, is keeping the morale together. Leads to a victory at the Battle of Trenton and a string of victories to save the revolutionary cause. Now, what's interesting about Christmas is it continues on the other side of the revolution, because when the revolution is over in 1783, just 2 days before Christmas, George Washington is going to surrender his commission as commander-in-chief. Now, remember, he's not president yet. This is before the United States Constitution, but he was the head of the military, and he gave it back to Congress as a Christmas gift to the country to make sure that the military was subservient to civilians. So again, it was around Christmas in 1783 that he did this. A very important moment in American Revolutionary history.
I don't hear anybody talk about that. That's interesting. So what were the traditions and the celebrations like back then?
So let's say you're not on the battlefield. You're going to George Washington's home. You're going to be served something like this. You see, down in Virginia, where he was from, and this right here, I should say, is a meat pie of some sort. It is called a Yorkshire Christmas pie. It comes from England, like many of the traditions in Virginia. So you would cut a hole in it just like this. This has in it bacon, chicken, turkey, all kinds of filling. The recipe is at nachoswithnicole.com, and I know Nicole's going to talk more about the recipe and everything that you can make at home. But you would do something like this. You put the gravy in the hole, just like I am there. Let it simmer in there. Now, this is going to be one of 20 to 40 dishes that they're going to serve, because these Virginians are following English tradition of the 12 days of Christmas from December 25th to January 6th, doing eating, feasting, drinking, gambling, doing masquerade balls. That's precisely why the New Englanders in Massachusetts banned Christmas, because, you know, the people known as Pilgrims or Puritans, they were trying to purify the church of all this stuff that they thought was a dishonor to God. They thought it was too much revelry. And so that's why in New England and Massachusetts, you're going to have the banning of Christmas. You're going to have fines and detention for celebrating Christmas. But down in Virginia with George Washington, that's right. They'll punish you for it because they wanted you to work, because they thought it was too much, you know.
Celebratory.
Too much celebratory, exactly. Now watch, we're going to try to cut a slice here. Now, down in Virginia, if you're visiting George Washington's home, though, this is what you're participating in. I was just there
last summer.
Oh, at Mount Vernon?
Yeah.
This is what you would be served. There are many accounts of his family serving this for Christmas. So we know this is exactly his dish, exactly his recipe.
It's a meat pie.
Yeah. Now, you might think this is heavy. But you're going to actually, like I said, you have 20 to 40 dishes over the course of the afternoon for a Christmas feast, because that's what the English were doing.
While I taste this, when did the U.S. recognize Christmas officially?
Well, as you just heard, in Massachusetts and Virginia, Christmas is a very different thing. It tastes pretty good. It's very savory, right? Now,
Imagine chewing it with wooden teeth, though.
Well, I also think it's a heavy dish, so it's hard to imagine 20 to 40 dishes coming out over the course of the day. They had these huge kitchens that were like, you know, these outhouses that would produce tons of stuff. But to kind of talk about Christmas for a moment, what happened is that because, you know, North and South, Massachusetts, Virginia, totally different versions of Christmas. Well, it wasn't until a century later that there's kind of more of a national consensus in 1870 that Christmas becomes a national holiday. Prior to that, Congress actually met on Christmas Day a couple of times, believe it or not. So there wasn't that consensus until 1870. Then the Christmas tree traditions come more in the U.S., and gifts were given more only to children rather than to everyone. So we didn't have quite the same gift craze we do now. So Christmas looked very different then, even when the consensus came together. But when that happened, that's when you start to have the shifts toward the traditions that we see today.
All right, let's shift it over to the ladies. I got to tell you, I could live on the meat pie, though. I'm all...
It looks so good, and I'm excited to learn more about it because, yes, if you went to George Washington's house to celebrate Christmas, you would be eating that certain dish, the meat pie. But was it actually called meat pie? I have a feeling it was something a little bit fancier. With us now is Nicole Kleber, who used Washington's recipe to recreate the dish. Nicole, it's so good to see you.
You too. It's called the Yorkshire Christmas pie.
Okay.
And Washington was kind of known for it. So one of his former military aides had written to Washington declining an invitation to come for Christmas. And one of the things he said in the letter was how he was not happy that he was going to miss the pie.
Right.
Which I totally get because that's how I feel about my mom's crab dip.
Yeah, you're going to miss it if you're not there.
Yeah,
Here's
so
the pie. Thank you for bringing it over.
It's kind of a famous thing. So it's got layers of mirepoix, which is the carrot, celery, onions.
Okay.
And you cook it down in white wine, and then you layer it with bacon, turkey, and chicken.
It kind of sounds like a fancier chicken pot pie.
Similar.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
It's kind of like the predecessor of a chicken pot pie. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the big things is the pastry is actually the cooking vessel.
Okay.
Which is kind of hard because you have to make sure like it's sturdy enough to cook in.
Yeah.
In modern times, we can cheat and use just a springform
Thank goodness.
pan. Whenever you use a springform pan, make sure it is closed all the way, or else you're not going to be able to get the pie out. You will only make that mistake once. I know, because I did it. So I'm going to get you to finish crimping it.
Oh,
so
boy.
have you ever crimped a pie before?
Do you think I've ever done that?
Maybe.
No.
Well, after today, you can say you did.
Okay, let's
see.
see.
It's super easy. So all you do is you stick your fingers, and then you stick your other fingers in to make a crimp, and then you just go around.
Okay.
So perfect.
I'm
so
really hoping
this
I don't lose a
is called
fingernail
like a hot water crust. So you
Okay.
actually boil the water in the lard or Crisco to make, and then you stir in the flour. So it's
Yours
very
looks
different.
prettier than mine, but
oh
that's
no, it's
okay.
always perfect and it's always imperfect, which is the
I
beauty
like
of
your
it.
style.
So the next thing we'll do is put some egg wash on it. So
Okay.
you'll just kind of drizzle it with the spoon, and then you can wipe it with a paper towel. Typically you can use like a pastry brush, but I don't normally do that. I just find it's easier to do it cold turkey over here. And what this does is it creates a glaze. A lot of times when you...
I'm supposed to put it all over.
All over,
Okay.
yeah, because it gives it like a shine and makes it darker.
Perfect.
You don't have to use all of it if you don't
Okay.
want to. So
There we go. And then you said spread it around?
Spread it around, yeah. A lot of times in recipes you'll see that just says beat the egg lightly.
Okay.
And a lot of times people don't do it all the way, and the yellow and the white isn't completely separated. So just make sure it's completely homogeneous.
And then how long do you have to bake this thing for? Because this is massive.
It is massive. So it bakes about 45 minutes uncovered, and then you tint it with foil for another 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want you to smell this, though. This is the herbs that go in the pie.
Ooh.
So it's like parsley and it's thyme, and there's some rosemary in there.
Yes. And in total, how long does this take from start to finish?
Oh, so traditionally it would take like at least 2 days because you have to get the poultry, you have to bone it, you have to like pluck the feathers off, clean it up.
I'm really glad we have Schnucks and Dierbergs these days.
Yeah, now it just takes like a day and a half.
Okay, perfect.
So let's go ahead and dig in here.
I am excited for this. And as you do cut it, how did you find historic recipes?
So you can go to, it's really important to go to like a really good source like mountvernon.com or Colonial Williamsburg has a broader range of them because they have historians who know the historic foodways and can break down what meanings were then and how we would cook with it now.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
All right, serve it up. I'm ready for Christmas.
It kind of broke apart, but it will still be good.
Perfect. Okay, and you're going to try a piece too?
Oh, I'll go for it too.
Okay. I think I have the chicken right here. Very well done.
Thanks.
But I'm still intimidated. 20 to 40 different dishes for Christmas.
Yeah, so you gotta come really hungry. They do smaller portions and it's spread out over the course of an hour. But it's like a whole marathon of eating. So you just gotta plow through it and hope you don't get gout.
I always hope I don't get gout. And you can see more from Nicole at NashvilleWithNicole.com. Don't you always hope you don't get gout?
It's a big
Come
concern.
on.
Always a big concern.
Yeah. You can find this segment on our website, firstalertford.com/great day following the show.
Nicole, it's
Yorkshire meat pie.
It's really good.
It is really
It is
good.
savory.
Yes.
Which I always like. Good job, ladies.